Hey everybody, and welcome to the Elseworlds Exchange. I'm Sal.
Hey, and I'm Joel.
Hey, so today we're going to be talking about Marvel TV. We're going to be talking about the future of Marvel TV. We're going to look back at the history of Marvel TV, not like Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends or any kind of Marvel TV like that.
That's
We're going
too
to talk.
far.
That's too. Whoa! You overshot it. We're going to talk more about Netflix and I guess Hulu
Yeah.
and ABC Family or Freeform.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna
Always forget about that free form.
Yeah, that's why we're gonna dip our toe in there. We're not gonna really get into it. We're really gonna talk about like what we can expect from the history or from the future of Marvel TV, what Marvel TV now could learn from the Netflix period of Marvel
Yeah,
TV, and what we hope to see. Because why not, right? That sounds
totally.
fun.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar with this show, it's a 1 hour chat where we chat about one topic for that long. If you are familiar with the show, welcome. And also, did you know you're a sponsor of today's episode? All you got to do that is, if you're watching it live, use the super chats, ask a question, make a comment. We'll read it here on the show, answer the question or address the comment, and then the sponsorship will be fulfilled and you'll be good to go. From there, I wanted to also mention at the top of the show, if you do really like the show, like if you really like if you like to watch it live, there's an issue with the YouTube app, and I don't know what it is. So yeah, like if you're watching it live on your phone, you may be experiencing buffering problems. I've checked this out. Apparently it is a YouTube app issue when it comes to like live streaming, so I apologize for that. But don't blame me.
And knowing YouTube, it might be fixed soon. It might never be fixed. Who the fuck knows?
That's the thing. I did know that apparently, according to one of our viewers yesterday, they used an older version of the app on like a tablet, and it worked fine. So it's definitely an update to one of the YouTube apps.
Outstanding.
So, and I know that like 80% of our audience watches on streaming, like on their phone.
Yeah.
So there you go. But yeah, anyway, let's jump into it. So first of all, you've been away from the show. How's it going? How you been?
Doing good, man. Doing some upkeep around the house. I rebuilt my laptop that I do most of my editing on. I felt like a good DIY guy in there, so that was fun.
Yeah, definitely. I love building a computer. And by building it, I mean like begging my friends who know what they're doing, like Danielle, to help me build this computer.
Man, so lucky to have a Danielle in your life. I had DIY videos on YouTube. Thanks, tech guy Charlie, wherever you are.
Yeah, I did like a recent thing where I just looked up like kind of PC builds on a budget. And this dude, I don't remember him, and I wish I could give him a shout, but like he was like, so here's your budget, but if you want to go a little higher end, you can replace like these components. And I'm like, oh my god, like that's super helpful.
Yeah.
Because I was on a budget, but there are a couple of like places I could kind of like move around a little bit, and that's where I got like updates on that, and it worked out great. I have a great computer now at home.
Nice.
I have a great computer here at the office, but like at home, that's where I really do like the meat and potatoes of the channel like work. So anyway, Marvel TV. So Disney Plus recently dropped like kind of like trailer at the big game, according to everyone else.
The big game.
The big game, because like Super Bowl is copyrighted or some nonsense.
I heard that for the first time this year, and I'm like, no shit. And then I'm like, yeah, I guess like all your local liquidators and mattress barons and everything kind of got in on that with Super Bowl sales. Come for the Super Bowl sale.
Yes. I remember the last couple of years that I saw, I think last year's when I really noticed, like, big game trailer, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And then I looked it up, and apparently it's because, like, Super Bowl's stupid.
Yeah.
Which doesn't surprise me in the least.
No, not at all.
But, yeah, by the way, if you've been away for a little while, this is the new schedule. We've been working this out for a while. The schedule is Mondays off the rack when it's live, then we drop it immediately following the episode so that you get your daily dose of off the rack. Then Tuesdays, Elseworlds. Wednesdays, back issues. And then Thursdays are miscellaneous, like extra shows, like Savage Screen or Letters Page or any other shows we produce. So keep an eye out. So, but yeah, this is the time. We're gonna see how this goes. Tuesdays, noonish. But yeah, so big game trailer dropped. We saw clips of WandaVision, Loki, and Cap and Winter Soldier.
Yep.
I guess I haven't really actually had a chance to ask you which one are you the most excited about, having seen, zero point 0.5 milliseconds worth of footage of each of those things.
Fair enough. I mean, I think before I saw the trailers, I was definitely the most interested in Falcon Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Because it's the one that's coming out the soonest. I've been a big fan of Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan. It's nice to see them kind of, get the spotlight to themselves. Plus the promise of Zemo and John Walker. But after seeing those trailers, I gotta say, WandaVision kind of won my heart, if only because I'm like, oh, this is really outside the box. This is really fucking different than anything you've done in the movie. You could only do this on television. All right, let's see what you got here.
Yeah. I'll have to actually ask Ethan what he thinks, because I remember he and I were both very much on the same page when it came to who gives a shit about WandaVision. I might not even watch the show. That's how little I care. But the trailer was cool, and the concept is interesting, and I was excited about how it was going to fit into Doctor Strange 2. I just heard apparently that Derrickson and whoever he was writing it with left before they submitted a first draft of the script, so there literally is no script for Doctor Strange 2, which means literally, like, as much as they were like, oh, Wanda's going to be in it, and it's going to be this whole thing, maybe not. Maybe no one will be in it. Maybe there won't even be a Multiverse of Madness. Maybe we'll change the freaking title. Like, who knows?
That was C. Robert Cargill was the writer on that.
Thank you.
And I only know that because he's one of the few guys who went from being a movie critic to being a movie writer.
Oh, interesting. Have you seen some of his work since then?
No.
Because I remember, what was it? I remember, like, I think it was Roger Ebert wrote a movie. And I think he either directed it or wrote it, but, like...
Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, yeah.
Yeah, and it sucked.
Yeah, but hey, he made his movie, though.
He did make it, but then he got to find out, like, how hard it all was. So, yeah, I still am excited about this WandaVision show, despite my lack of enthusiasm beforehand. It looks kind of neat.
Yeah, sure does. And we got the comic book accurate costume.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a scene... that's actually the biggest nod, I think, unintentional though it may be, to the Netflix series, where they're like, look, we're not going to do everything from the comics, but we may have like a wink, like Luke Cage wearing a tiara, or Danny Rand wearing the head sock. Like, we're going to do a couple of like winks and stuff like that, but not going to do it for real. The Wanda thing, hey, you know what though? I got to tell you, like, that head thing she wears looks really good.
Yeah, it's not half bad at all. It's like, hey, you could do this if you wanted, everyone.
Exactly. I'll tell you this. It looks better than Huntress's outfit at the end of Birds of Prey.
Oh, does that happen? I haven't seen the movie yet. Does she actually get an outfit?
She does get an outfit at the end. I don't think... even if that is a spoiler, like, yay, she gets an outfit. But, like,
that's cool.
It's not great.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
But, yeah, so... I don't know. I'm genuinely excited, although I think, for me... it's probably going to come down between Loki and Winter Soldier Falcon. And the reason for that is simple. I think that the Loki one is going to be the biggest, like, oh my god, what's even happening? Like,
because you can do so much with Loki.
You can do so much. They showed you so little.
Apparently they filmed that scene just for that trailer.
Oh my god. It looks like it, because he's wearing a shirt that is, like, very much an Easter egg. I think it's like the Time Variance Authority.
Yes,
and it's like... people are trying to figure out, like, what scene is this? It's like, there is no scene. He's just wearing this shirt to indicate to the audience, like, there's going to be stuff happening.
We needed something for the sizzle reel, and we're not ready to film yet.
Right. That's fine. I love the idea of there being, like, a time group that's chasing after Loki.
Time cops.
Time cops. I love that idea. But the most potential could come from the Loki show, because, like, Tom Hiddleston is fearless.
Yes.
And will do whatever, and doesn't mind, like, playing second fiddle, despite him kind of being the breakout actor character from like the MC. Like, everybody loves watching Loki.
It's true.
But he's going to have some great stuff to go on. My point is, I'm just like, oh my god, like, that could be anything.
And doing a Loki TV show, too, it doesn't always have to be Hiddleston, too. This could be where they explore some of Loki's many reincarnations. Like, oh, now it's old man Loki. Now it's little kid Loki. Now it's lady Loki.
Right. You could definitely... and you could really fun stunt cast those.
Absolutely.
So that could be really cool.
Or just get Hiddleston to dress in drag and be a young kid and play all of them.
He'd do it. He's fearless, like we said. But, like,
Eddie Murphy and the Clumps, that shit.
Oh my god. I will say, though, that the Falcon Winter Soldier show, is obviously, like, number one, it's the closest to being done. Number two, there's like, we see more of a story, and there's something going on where it feels like a real thing. Like they're really gonna, because it opens up with Falcon throwing the shield and practicing, getting used to it, getting comfortable. Then we see the shield in John Walker's hands, walking through the big game, and so we know that like they take it away from him. I love the idea that the U.S. government's like, America's not ready for a black Captain America. Yoink! Like, if you're gonna if they're really gonna go that far, I think that's a brilliant idea.
Very true to Nick Spencer's comics as well.
Oh, big time. The thing for me is like, it's a Disney Plus show. It's on an app that can't go harder than PG-13. Like, I don't even think the people who developed the Disney Plus app have seen every episode of The Simpsons. When they said like, oh no, every episode of The Simpsons is gonna be on, I'm like, do you even know what this show is?
Yeah, we know it's popular.
Like, do you know, like, children, like, don't have, like, I don't know. It's not for everybody. I
mean, I watched The Simpsons growing up when I was really young, but yeah, you're right.
Oh, so did I, and I'm glad, and I'm all the better for it. But my point is, like, if Disney was my parents, they wouldn't have let me watch it, and they certainly wouldn't have.
In the first season, isn't there a bit where like Homer tries to kill himself very early on with a big rock?
Yes, Homer tries to kill himself. There's scenes where Homer and Bart are both totally nude and like hiding in the woods. Like, there's a lot of stuff. But more or less, like, I'm actually not even worried about like that kind of thing. It's really more like the complicated themes and the like, the undercutting of convention that the show does. The kind of like challenging of authority and the the questioning of your betters that The Simpsons does. I'm like, is Disney Plus prepared for a show that like literally would hate to be on your app?
Or because it is The Simpsons and it's so ubiquitous now and such a part of the pop culture fabric, are they just like, man, it's The Simpsons, no one cares?
Right, exactly. I mean, it could be that they just go like, well, I don't care. It's just like, if someone wants to derive meaning from the Yellow People cartoon, they're welcome to it. But the vast majority of people are just going to give me their precious money. And it's like, okay, fine. But I question whether Disney is really going to go there with Falcon and Winter Soldier, where they're like, no, America's intrinsically racist, and they're going to have a problem with Sam Wilson. Like, I love that, like, Steve didn't anticipate that.
No, not
like,
at all.
Here you go. Yeah, well, I approve you, so naturally the entire country will be cool with it too. And it's like, Steve.
I mean, at least in the comics, they had the fallback of like, yeah, but he was also secretly Hydra at the time and just didn't know it yet.
Right. But I love this idea, and even if it's just touching on those concepts, and even if it's just like, because I'm sure what they'll do, the reason why Zemo's even in it is because, like, Zemo's the master manipulator. He broke up the Avengers with a videotape. Like, I think that, maybe he's the guy who's like, Sam Wilson, he's murdered people, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, maybe it's not, I don't know. Like, maybe his machinations are making America look more racist than it really is.
He's fanning the flames is what he's doing. He's paying off those Fox News hosts to say those things. They wouldn't really say those things.
Exactly. And that's fine too, because I'm also cool with there being a villain in my Marvel shows.
Yeah.
And it'll be really hard to try to square that circle in the end of 6 episodes to be like, no, Falcon's Captain America, and I guess America just got less racist about it.
Yeah, really.
Like,
again, and everybody wanted, everyone accepted him. Is he Captain America in the comics right now? No.
No.
Does he have a book at the moment? Also, no.
Yeah, that's actually kind of stupid.
He's getting a mini series though, with Winter Soldier right before the movie though,
that's
or the show.
That's a good idea. Like that's the best idea, because it means you don't have to, like, you don't have to hope the show doesn't get canceled or the book doesn't get canceled. You can just be like, no, here it is.
Just a minute
run, just like the show.
Yeah.
But those are the 3: Loki, Cap, and Wanda.
Also a Hawkeye show that seems to be on indefinite hiatus now while they work out many problems that they could not have foreseen.
That Hawkeye show, as I understand it, they're close to casting Kate Bishop. I understand they want Haley Steinfeld or whatever.
Would love if they got her.
She's amazing. I want to see her in the movies. I want to see her run the Young Avengers or the Champion, whatever.
She's basically perfect casting.
She is. She's great. She's great regardless. I loved her in True Grit. I love her as Gwen or Gwanda. She's great. So just use her however you can.
Please, please.
But when it comes to this Hawkeye show, like, I'll watch it. Like, I hope it happens.
Yeah.
We've heard a lot of other things: Moon Knight, Hawkeye, Ms. Marvel, the What If
She-Hulk.
cartoon, She-Hulk, and the What If cartoon I think is practically done.
Yeah.
So I think we're getting there. But it looks like the future of Marvel TV is aggressive, inevitable,
Yes.
and maybe not fearless, but it's certainly, I don't know, confident.
It's definitely taking more chances than I think, the very meticulously put together movie slate that they have.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm excited for it, and I don't know if I'm as excited as here's the thing. If you compare the era of Marvel TV now to the era of Marvel TV when Jeff Loeb announced the Netflix series, I don't think I'm nearly as hyped.
Well, because we thought it would never happen is the thing. I remember how excited we all were, where it's like, whoa, everything is different now. And they picked the perfect heroes, the heroes who were so TV ready to make into Netflix shows. And I think it was at the time, too, when we were all super high on Netflix, where
Right.
we're like, oh, this is the, definitive streaming service for TV and movies. It will never get better than this. You could never break my love for Netflix. Oh, they cancel a bunch of shows I like. Actually, yes, you can. And they canceled some shows because they threatened to unionize. Oh.
Yeah. Well, and also on the creative aspect of it with Netflix and with Marvel, it was like, like Marvel's not afraid to make kind of like adult-oriented superhero stuff.
Right.
That's really cool. I mean, they still went for the hard PG-13. They didn't go R, but it's like some of those sex scenes in the series were like, I was like, okay, they're gonna shake hands with Cap, okay, and it's like, no.
No, the answer was no, and they never will.
Yeah, but that was a lie, and we all thought it was actually gonna be, all connected. Hashtag it's all connected. But the hype was real, and I think you're right that it came from a place of, I can't believe we're getting it, versus, oh my god, there's so much, I don't even know what to be excited for first. But I think it's also in the wake of, yeah, but you made you created a Netflix / Marvel TV universe predicated on a lie.
Yeah.
And it still wound up being excellent, most of it.
Yeah.
And then you canceled it.
Yes.
And you refused to even acknowledge it within the universe because of horseshit.
Yes, because of dick measuring corporate bullshit. Even canceling it was more because, like, oh, you're making an app of your own. Well, what are we doing here? Marketing people who are now our direct competition.
Right. Which and on one hand, I'm also like kind of glad about, because it fast tracks either those shows, those characters, or this universe, and those characters within that universe into being actually part of that universe, rather than having this like weird nebulous split universe where it's like, no, like Netflix, like, hey, listen, rising tides raise all ships, who gives a shit, Netflix, all the Marvel stuff we got, we'll make Jessica Jones season 12, it doesn't matter, and then have conflicting Marvel shows that are not part of the same universe. That I don't want to see.
That would be the ultimate kick in the pants, where it's like, oh, so this is the Marvel universe I don't really have to pay attention to,
right?
Because nothing that happens here is going to have any effect on the movies.
Yeah, and on one hand, that doesn't necessarily matter, and I don't want to get it. I don't want to get hung up on the whole like, if it's not canon, it doesn't matter. But is it canon?
Same.
But at the same time, part of the appeal and the draw of the MCU itself is that like you get rewarded for your investment
Watching
of time.
Everything. Yeah. It's their secret weapon. It's the thing they have over just about everyone else. But it's like, look, you might not want to see a Doctor Strange movie or an Ant-Man movie, but if you want to get all the little references and in-jokes in the next Avengers movie, you probably should.
And if I want to see an Ant-Man or Doctor Strange movie, I might get a sequel to it because everyone else went to go see it too.
Exactly. I think we're kind of seeing the inverse of that problem with DC, where it's like, look, here's a Shazam movie, it's pretty good. Here's a Birds of Prey movie, it's pretty good. Well, do I have to see it to watch the
Oh
next Justice
no.
League? We don't know if we're doing another Justice League. We don't know anything.
Yeah, DC's in a really interesting position, and
Mhm.
I kind of want to talk about this, but I don't want to derail the show. So I'll just really quickly touch upon it. But like, DC and Marvel are in two totally different headspaces when it comes to like how they're approaching their IPs in
Yep.
multimedia.
Hmm.
And like Marvel, I don't know what they're doing with when it comes to the comics. I have no idea what their approach is. We have not felt the Feige effect because Feige is, of course, in charge of Marvel Comics as well as Marvel shows and movies.
He's the grand poobah now. He's got the horns and
He's got the
everything.
hat and everything. He's all set. But we haven't felt that yet. I have no idea what the impact's going to be. But I do know that with DC, it feels like it's kind of unraveling, but they don't really care because they're really trying to get a lid on all the other stuff, the DC ancillary stuff. Like
Yeah.
if you watch do you have the app DC Universe?
It's not available in Canada yet.
Oh right.
All this time later, it's still not available here.
Yeah. I did have the app for a while. They actually I got like grandfathered in. Now I pay for it because I love the Harley Quinn show.
Oh,
And
isn't it so good?
it's unbelievable. Like the thing is, it's so good. Although that Harley Quinn Highway thing was stupid as hell. I was like, this sucks.
Oh, see, I like that because it reminded me of that Gorillaz music video.
Yeah. But the fact is, they're focusing on this app. You have this cartoon. You have everything else they've ever made, and then you have these like DC universe shows that they've developed that have like all this different talent like involved. They've got that like next great Food Network star, but for DC on that show where it's like, pitch us a show, and then we'll make a reality show out of that show.
Huh.
And like literally they were like, we're gonna make a reality show out of pitch us a show, and then we're gonna make pilots of the 3 selected shows, and we're gonna show those shows, and then you watch those shows, and we'll determine which show wins. And
That's
it's
interesting.
Like, it's very interesting, and it's like there's a lot of like work going on, but like, and they're all talking about like Batman and Wonder Woman and all their favorite characters, but like, what are you doing with them? Like, what is the comic book universe all about? And it's like, well, we made the timeline and we named our big event after an AT&T service, and like it just feels like there's a disconnect.
Oh, without a doubt.
And with Marvel, it feels like, I remember a lot of people were really upset. I know but Howard the Duck got canceled, Ghost Rider got canceled, Runaways got canceled, everything's
Basically,
canceled.
everything from the Low Bear was like, all right, new boss, let's just get all that off the table.
Get it all out of here.
MODOK, you can stay because I like Patton Oswalt.
Unless it isn't.
Yeah.
Right? Like, unless it isn't. Like,
my assumption was it was the furthest along, and it's like, well, might as well show it if it's this far along, but don't expect a season 2.
yeah, I expect MODOK will be canceled very quietly.
Interesting. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? But at the same time, when it comes to what they're doing, like, I get it, and I'm actually kind of glad of it because it means they're getting their house in order. And
All
like,
the ducks are in a row.
Yeah, the last thing you want is for the people in charge who are creative and or at least who fancy themselves as being creative, are weary or uninterested in working on XYZ.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want a comic book publisher who hates comic books or superheroes.
It's a bit of a problem.
Right? And you don't want like a showrunner who hates that character or doesn't want to make this show or would rather be working on that show. It's why it's like, play ball with Tom Holland. He clearly wants to be part of the MCU. Like, let Spider-Man be part of it. Like,
yes,
it's just like, you don't want a reluctant or reticent creative working on your creative property. So like, it's brilliant to be like, let's clear the palette and just focus on these things. And I'm actually really glad that a lot of these Marvel shows are coming later because it means they're taking the time to work on them.
Same.
Ms. Marvel. You could shoot a Ms. Marvel show in about 6 months today.
It doesn't need to cost a lot of money, but I'm glad you're taking time with it.
Exactly. And I don't want them to dump millions upon millions of dollars into it. I just
you don't need it.
Yeah, because you don't need it. It's just like, make it.
The lo-fi nature of her character and her adventures are part of the appeal.
Right. And it could be that, like, it could be Moon Knight is their way of being like, so here's Moon Knight. It's a clear-cut superhero. He has a cape and everything. But we're really testing the grounds and the waters for whether we want to actually pursue another Punisher.
Yeah.
You know, or some of our more hard-edged characters. And
Which assumedly will go live on Hulu because Disney Plus will never be anything harder than a PG-13.
But that's the thing, is that, like, I mean, Endgame is on there, and that you know, a lot of dark shit happened in that movie. The Simpsons is on that app. There's a lot of dark stuff on that app that, like, I don't even think it was because they're like, no, we're pretty dark, we're pretty adult. No, it's more like, well, we don't really care. I don't know. As long as it has the rating on it, I'm not going to change it.
All those National Geographic documentaries, hey, we can show animals eating each other. That's fine.
Exactly. So when it comes to getting your ducks in a row, I'm all for it because it means, cohesion and synergy for this universe. Yeah. And I think that the timetable is great because it's like, okay, take the time, work on these properties individually. Don't get excited or don't get overzealous.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, like, they could make Ms. Marvel in 6 months and just be like, there, we did it, haha, it's out, and you'll eat it up. But no, they want to be like, let's make sure it's good.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, like, they hope that it's good. I mean, like, I don't know, it could suck, but it'll at least have the care and the requirement necessary to make it as good as it possibly can be under this regime.
Right.
So we've got these things coming out. The nearest one, I think, is August of 2020.
Yes, I think so too.
And then that's it. Like, until 2021.
It's hard to believe that, these last couple months, there's actually been a barren drought of Marvel content. We were supposed to have that third Guardians around this time, but naturally that didn't happen because of the whole refiring fiasco.
Exactly. But we will be getting Guardians, and I'm actually kind of glad we're getting Guardians 3 later, because it means that Guardians 3... Because Guardians has always been represented like a springboard, like and a gateway into the Marvel Cosmic Universe.
Mm-hmm.
So as a result, they can be like, okay, so here's the deal. We're going to set up the next era of Marvel Cosmic with characters you know and recognize, so that you don't get, like, scared off or confused. You know what I mean? So it's like, as opposed to now, where James Gunn's just like, whatever, they do this, or I don't know, they hunt for Gamora, but, like, now, if it's later, Silver Surfer could show up, or Galactus, or whatever.
It's true.
They could do a whole thing.
And in the ultimate act of win-win too, we now get a James Gunn Guardians movie, and we get a James Gunn Suicide Squad reboot, so our cup runneth over.
Exactly. I'm down. So when it comes to where Marvel's going with their shows, I think that it's in as a careful place, maybe even more of a careful place than when they were developing the Netflix show.
Agreed, because it's all in-house, and they seem to care a little bit more, and again, Feige's running all of it.
What blows my mind is, like, you don't... When they put Loeb in charge of Marvel TV, that wasn't, like, a demotion, or, like, we don't want Loeb over here, so we're going to move him over here. Like, they selected him to do these things.
Mm-hmm.
So they clearly, like, the company had, I don't know, confidence in his abilities. I don't understand what went wrong or where things went awry, where they were like, it went from, so we selected you, do these things, and if it's well received and people really enjoy it, it'll probably be part of the universe.
Right.
And then it's like, nah. like just a total about face.
Yeah, at what point did they go nah in their relationship?
Because they put the I remember when Amy Pascal was like, oh no, Venom's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Feige's like,
not on my watch, he's not.
Like, he moved uncomfortably in his seat, but when she was gone, he was like, went to the cameras and was like, no.
I just want to tell you. Yeah. I just want to make sure. Please do not let me be misunderstood.
Right. Venom is not until he is. But I kind of like this whole... I don't know, like with Loeb, I don't think it was that surprising. I think for them, they were like, yeah, no, it is connected.
You know what
And
the
then
saddest thing about Loeb is? Like, wasn't it like the week before on Comic-Con before they said, oh yeah, Feige's coming in and taking over TV,
yeah.
and Loeb was still talking about like, oh yeah, we're moving ahead, a Runaway season 2. I'm like, did he know and was putting on a brave face, or did he not know and was blindsided?
Right? I don't know. For me, I feel like that's very like corporate. Like I think that's
Oh
a
yeah.
very like smart thing to do because you also don't want to like you don't want to you hear all the time, or you've heard it before, like from the older days, where it's like you hear about a show that gets canceled, and like the cast found out about it because they read about it in the
In the
trades.
trades, yeah.
Like they weren't told, or like they go to work and the doors are all locked and their trailers are gone. Like
So sad.
I think that they try to avoid that whenever possible at this point.
Right.
Just for the simple fact they don't want Jeff Loeb tweeting like Marvel fucked me.
That's what I was waiting for, and also too, you probably wouldn't want that at Comic-Con to be like, oh no, a jilted Loeb in front of a live microphone. He's likely to say anything.
Exactly. So yeah, or worse yet, right? Like Loeb is completely in the dark. He's up on that stage. He's fielding questions. Someone goes, according to Variety, you're not. You're fired."
Wait, what? Let me see that.
When can we accept when can we expect the third chapter to Long Halloween now?
Yeah, really. It's like, well, need some money. Time to get back to work.
Right. I don't know. I can't imagine them leaving Loeb in a lurch like that. I can't imagine them treating him like shit leading up to that point. But
Yeah.
I can also expecting them like writing him a big fat check and being like, "Sayonara, sorry about that."
I mean, because that's another very corporate thing. We won't fire you outright because you have too much clout, but we'll make your life miserable so you'll want to quit.
Yes, which is actually you don't even need to make a lot of money for that to happen.
No, you don't.
You know, we've been neglecting before we get into more, and I want to get into Netflix some more. But there's some super chats we have to read.
Yeah, yes.
Eat That Horse, thank you very much, man. Says, loved your video on the possibility of future Big Two crossovers. Thank you, man.
Hey.
Personally, I wouldn't trust either company to make that story reach its potential unless Hickman and Morrison were co-architects. I wouldn't trust either of those guys doing a Marvel DC crossover.
Could they work together, or would it just be like, I got to wrestle you for it now?
Yeah, there's no way that Morrison would work with Hickman. These are two big giants. They would not. They don't like. These are two great tastes that don't taste great together.
Matter and antimatter.
Yeah. By the way, thank you very much for checking out that video. If you haven't already, I made a video where I basically go like, there's a way to get a Marvel DC crossover. Hell, there's a way to get more than Marvel DC crossovers than you ever thought possible. Here's how. It's a fun video. Check it out and share it around because I want it to happen. So tell IDW. Joshua Wright says, here's some love from my favorite YouTube channel. Thank you very much, Josh. Keep up the good work. I love Moon Knight, but I'm worried the show being on Disney Plus. What do you think? What do you think, Joel?
I mean, again, as we said, they have some more boundary pushing stuff on Disney Plus. I don't think you're gonna get the face eating Moon Knight, but did you really want the face eating Moon Knight to begin with? I think if you do a really good horror story, if you do something like in the vein of the Ellis or Lemire stuff, where it's like, look, it's scary, but it's scary because of the stuff you don't see going on.
Right.
It's that feeling of the unknown horror that's out there.
Yeah. I'd be okay with that. I think that there's potential. I think The Mandalorian was a good indication that, like, quality is there and we can have tension without it being, R-rated.
That's an excellent way to look at it.
So I'm excited. I fully expect Mr. Knight to be the Moon Knight we get.
Right, because it's, much more on a TV budget, have a guy show up in a white suit and a white cape and stuff.
But I think each episode of, like, The Mandalorian is several $1 million per show. So, like, who the hell knows? It could be they go, like, no, we're getting, like, the people who designed Cap's suit to make a Moon Knight costume, full cape and everything. I don't know.
I mean, really, I think, for a Moon Knight show to have its full potential, do all of it. Let's have Mr. Knight. Let's have Moon Knight. Let's have the weird skull-headed Khonshu. Let's have all of it.
I think you fit it all. And I think there's room for all of it. Nerd King 101. Oh, sorry, again.
I was going to say, if you're doing multiple seasons, that's what you got to do. Like, look, season 1 was Mr. Knight. Season 2, you get the costume and everything else.
Right. Nerd King 101, listening to this at work while I put together packages. Well, thanks a lot, man.
Hey.
Joel's back. Super excited for this episode.
Hey, I am back.
That's right. And thank you for being excited and for listening to us at work. Flywheel Shyster helping us out. Thank you very much. Thumbs up to you, my friend. Jamie Wild, can we just agree She-Hulk should be played by Gina Carano? Also, I love the show, guys. Thanks for always making quality content. Thank you, Jamie. And yeah, I love the idea of Gina Carano as
I
She-Hulk.
do love Gina Carano.
I don't think she can play everything. Like, I wouldn't cast her as Wonder Woman, despite the fact that she has, like, black hair and muscles. But I think that her kind of, like, I don't know where she's from, but she seems to embody a little bit of like an East Coast vibe, and I really want that from Jen Walters. Like, I want
Definitely.
like a Manhattanite She-Hulk.
Agreed. How do you think they're going to play that? I know we've probably talked about this before. Are they going to get a petite woman to play Jen and then a more muscular woman to play She-Hulk, or is it going to all be CG? Or, I mean, how are we going to do this? Because I mean, it can't all be She-Hulk all the time, even though in the comics it is all She-Hulk all the time. And for that, you would figure maybe they'll do makeup and prosthetics. I don't know. There's a lot of ways they could go with this.
I don't know. It could be like when they made Thanos, they made like a full 3D CG Josh Brolin that you could literally just drop in where Thanos is and he'd just be Josh Brolin. Like, it looks like him and everything. If you make like the technology being where it is today, you could make like a fully CG actor,
right?
That is just a basically a 3D print of that actor, and then be like, and then we just change the proportions, and now they're there, and it's like the money was spent. It's already been done. Here's the character, and you could drop them in anywhere, like Hulk. You could make Gina Carano CG and just alter her proportions a little bit to make her a little smaller, and then make She-Hulk her size, where she doesn't have to, like, maybe she has to stand in an apple box or something.
We do some camera tricks. We film her far away, like we did Elijah Wood in The Hobbit.
I mean, like, you could do some cool shit. They work with Weta, so there's no reason not to steal some Jackson tricks.
Yeah.
I would like, honestly, for me, the She-Hulk show should just be the Dan Slott run.
Yeah. It's a good run.
Where it's like, comic books are the historical documents, and you have cameos of other Marvel characters you're not going to see. Like, you're not going to get the Spider-Man scene, but you could, and Tom Holland would obviously say yes. But you could also get you could get some fun stuff in there. You could get Awesome Andy and other stuff like that. Like, you could get some neat stuff in there. And I think that's the smartest way to go, because it's not as action oriented.
True. They could also do those tricks that they do in Flash whenever they have Gorilla Grodd or King Shark. Film it at night, film it far away.
Right. But I would love to see, especially if it's only going to be 6 episodes, you could basically spend, I don't know, $8 million and just be it looks like a movie. And listen, if the show is huge, then guess what? She-Hulk's an Avenger now.
It helps too. Again, the length of these shows are perfect. Yes, it only needs to be 6 episodes. I think that's a problem we can all agree hurt the Netflix era of Marvel shows. And that is like, these did not all need to be 12, 13 episodes.
Well, and you could have gotten more from less. Like, if Daredevil season 2 was 8 episodes, you could have still gotten awesome shit from Punisher, but it wouldn't have been quite as, I don't know, decompressed.
They all had a real big problem of dragging in the middle, didn't they?
Yeah, they all did, really. And
then you had shows like Iron Fist that only dragged,
where it was just a drag. But I'm one of those guys who loves season 2 of Daredevil because it's the most like a comic book.
It is.
You got Punisher cameos, you got ninjas, Elodie Young as Elektra. I loved her. There's so much really cool shit in there. But if it was only
storytelling,
but if it was only 6 or 8 episodes, you could have gotten all of that. And it could have been like just the best parts. Yeah. And that could have really worked. And She-Hulk could be just that. Eddie Eckenberg, what I don't get about Marvel TV is the lack of animation for the sort of young adult audience. Even Netflix.
It's crazy.
They're directly funding anime. I agree, man.
They sure are. It really is insane. Disney's like, you're an animation house, first and foremost. Why are you not putting more time and effort into animation? You had the Hulu shows and you killed those, Dad.
Well, and why is if you're like you hear so many stories about how, like, Miyazaki and other, like, influential animators out there who are like, I grew up watching Disney cartoons and I wanted to work for Disney. And then you make things like Avengers Assemble and Ultimate Spider-Man, and it's just like
look bad and are bad
looking shows that are horribly written, that are just for the lowest common denominator. And then you look at the toys and they're based off of the models from that shitty show. So everything just looks like shit. Like,
It's this weird thing where it's like we don't have to make cartoons anymore. We have the movies; they're cartoony enough, and kids want to see them and watch them. So
yeah. I mean, what if I were Disney? I would look at the metrics for every Marvel show that we have in the roster now on the app.
Mm,
Which ones are the most popular?
yeah, really.
I wouldn't even do a season. I just do like a special or two. That's like let's bring back let's resurrect X-Men the animated series for one big crazy movie or something.
I mean, shit, they're resurrecting Clone Wars for another season this month.
And that could
So
be the indicator that maybe we'll get more. Like,
I hope so.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe we won't get X-Men the animated series and Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes and Spectacular Spider-Man all coming back to life. But maybe instead we'll get like Marvel animated movies that use some of the voice actors or work in some of those animation houses.
I'd like that a lot.
I would love that. And that's a smarter way to do it because like it's less expensive. It's more fan oriented. You get to really tap into that. Because here's the thing: how many people are buying Blu-rays for those DC animated movies? Right?
Yeah.
They're not very popular. They are popular from among their audience, and that's the people you want to get the money from. So. Yeah. If DC, DC's got the app. You can watch those movies directly through it. It should be the same thing. Marvel should be churning out animated pictures, adaptations of comic books, using like maybe and hell, DC does like their own universe. Like everyone's the same. Do the same thing. You have a stock voice cast. We're gonna pull the dude who played Wolverine from the animated series. Boom. That's
that
Wolverine.
guy.
He is so great, and he's happy to do it.
For real.
Tom Hawkinson says, hey, are either of you guys reading the Martian Manhunter run that was going on right now? I'm sure that Joel pitched exactly this story and vibe, the detective story.
I am not, but my friend Matt's been reading it, and he's been telling me, and I'm like, motherfucker, I pitched that on an episode.
I'm sure you did.
Almost exactly. My thing was like, oh, what if Martian Manhunter was Highlander and he had to hunt down white Martians throughout history? And I think he's doing something similar, like he's a detective hunting down white Martian crimes.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Joel had it first.
I had it first. Where's my check, DC? I want a 12-issue Martian Manhunter series. No more than that, just 12 issues.
You're like, I'll take 4. Just fucking give me the job.
Yeah, really.
But, yeah, man. When it comes... Oh, so for Netflix... Yeah, the Netflix like if we could look back and do a postmortem on the Netflix series, I think the things that made it not the only thing largely it was hugely successful.
Yeah.
The views low on certain shows, but the quality high on most of those shows.
Absolutely.
A vast majority of them. Punisher, an excellent series. Jessica Jones, I only watched the first season, but it was an excellent season, and I loved it.
It's a really goddamn good first season. I think some people skipped Luke Cage season 2, which is a shame because season 2 blows season 1 out of the water, and I would say it's probably top 3 of all the shows they did.
Wow. I did really enjoy Luke Cage. It was slow going at first.
Very.
But then I really enjoyed it. And then we had the hammer suit that looked really bad.
Yeah, but also very much like his suit from the comics. And that's one of the times where it's like, man, you didn't have to be that accurate.
Right? Also, Luke Cage, I think, was the only show that actually did reference Justin Hammer and Hammer Industries. And I was like, hey! But you got that great stuff.
Yet did not reference the Hulk breaking Harlem.
I can't believe that was a thing they didn't do.
What a missed opportunity.
You have a show in the Marvel Universe set in Harlem, and Hulk literally smashed Harlem. He says it in Avengers.
Maybe that has more to do with their lack of disinterest and apathy towards Hulk than it was for Luke Cage.
I don't know. Wasted opportunity. You could have easily done something where it's like an in memoriam like monument, or like a Smash building that they're leaving Smash to represent like how little they care about us here,
Totally.
Like, a lot of cool shit that we just missed opportunities. But when it comes to the shows with Netflix, some of the missteps, some of the misfires, things that didn't work out. One, episode length, obviously.
Yeah, episode length
it needed to be as long as it needed to be.
Yeah, that's a big bad one. Everything with Iron Fist.
Literally, Iron Fist was bad from the get-go. I think that I will say this: I loved the dude from Lord of the Rings. I thought he was great.
Yeah. Or no, Game of Thrones.
No, no, not Éomer. Faramir.
Right.
He was so great. I loved him in that. Plus, actual magic.
Actual magic was nice. Colleen Wing was pretty cool, even though they greatly changed her origin.
Totally. Yeah, no, completely. But I like the actor who played her. I thought she did a good job. With Iron Fist, it was just like you picked the worst people for this, like the worst showrunner, the worst
Scott
actors.
Buck.
Yeah, and I don't know why you would do that. When if like you owe Scott Buck, or if Scott Buck's a friend of yours or whatever, then like why isn't he doing all of it? Like if you don't care, then why is he doing all of it? And like why is he just doing Iron Fist?
The fact that we never got to see Kunlun or have a whole episode built around Kunlun, and they kind of really brushed over Danny's origin, even though that's a huge part of who he is and where most of the Iron Fist comics live, for better or worse.
I mean, like, the reality is, I've seen Kunlun in the comics. It doesn't look very expensive.
No. Why do we only have it in flashbacks? That's so weird.
Very weird. But when it came to that, like, yeah, Iron Fist was just a mistake. The whole thing was just a mistake. But the episode length was a problem.
Mm-hmm.
The quality control was largely good, but there were some missteps in that regard. The fact that it was based on a lie. Like,
yeah,
if it's all connected, make it all connected. If it wasn't, say it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they were just so afraid to not stand on their own 2 feet because they were like, well, you'll abandon us. And I'll be honest, I did.
No,
like,
I know you did.
When I found out it was not hashtag all connected, I friggin' left. I was like...
you left way before me.
I did. I was like, no. Especially after Iron Fist and after Defenders, I was like, well, I'm out. Because, like, you don't give a shit.
I think that, too, the fact that Defenders was no Avengers, even though I'm sure that's what Netflix wanted. Like, oh, we're going to have our own Avengers, right? No, it's going to take a while for everybody to get together, and we're actually going to be using a lot of the plot points from Iron Fist as the jumping off point, so yikes.
I can't believe that. I will say this. I had a good time watching Defenders while it was happening.
Same.
I'll never watch it again. And
Same, yeah.
And part of that is because... it took so long to get everyone together, and it was almost too real, where it's like, here's a bunch of antisocial people who hate, like, regular people who hate each other. They would never work together, and they don't. The end. Like,
the lack of a memorable villain for that show too really hurt it. Remember how it was like Susan Sarandon for a little bit, then she ended up not doing anything?
Yeah. No, it was Sigourney Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver, thank you.
I thought you were saying, like, she was cast first. I'm like, oh, good. Well, then they made a good switch.
Wouldn't that be how the fact that they had Sigourney Weaver and she didn't do anything.
I can't believe they used Sigourney Weaver. I was like, at first I'm like, yeah, it's awesome. And she did a really good job with what she had. But I was like,
she did.
Man, I don't know who she'd play in the MCU, but I would rather anyone else. Like,
for real.
I don't want this. Dragon Bones, that worked pretty well.
Yeah, that's right. Again, very comic book.
Yeah. There was a lot of wasted opportunity with that show. And it was, for many people, even if it wasn't... The other thing was, your master of ceremonies, your Kevin Feige of the Marvel TV universe was Jeff Loeb, for better or for worse. He was such a put-upon dick about everything.
Oh, yes,
in the public. Like, whether Feige is a good person or bad person, I have no idea.
No.
But I do know that his PR management and his on-screen persona are on fucking point.
Oh, impeccable.
He has a fun hat. He's always smiling. And why shouldn't he be? He's got lots of money, and
he makes dreams for a living.
Yeah, he makes dreams for a living. And everyone tells you you're incredibly talented and great. Hollywood will give you credit for making the most amount of money and taking the most amount of risk and ambition forever. So why shouldn't he be smiling all the time? And look, he's asked questions like, "Hey, do you think DC and Marvel will ever do a crossover movie?" And he goes, and he laughs, and he like entertains the question.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, "Boy, wouldn't that be fun to see?" I mean, obviously, we're really excited about what we got coming down the pike. So obviously, that's something to think about in the future. But I think right now we should be really excited about Doctor Strange. Like, I really like Blade. I think Blade's gonna be pretty cool. Like, he's just so affable.
You know who he is? He's Willy Wonka. He's a real world Willy Wonka. Take a look at my world of Marvel
No, it's
imagination.
like someone split Willy Wonka, and so it's like the fun of Willy Wonka became Kevin Feige, and the dark misery of the person who hates children. Because
Hey,
Willy Wonka has a real problem with everybody.
indeed he does, but then again, we don't see Kevin Feige in his half room that he has.
No,
at
we
the end of the
don't.
movie.
But Jeff Loeb, this grouchy old man who's just sitting there and he's like, yeah, I'm really excited about this stupid show I'm working on. Hey, is it connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Fuck you. Like,
Runaway season 2, love it.
watch it. It's on a channel you don't get. Enjoy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, he was so negative all the time. And as it
Yeah,
got
he was.
further and further along, like, he didn't know how to handle the fans, which is
No.
mind-bending because dude's been working in comics for 40 years. Like, what
You'd
are you
think you would have
doing?
picked it up at some point, even just to fake it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, take a cue from Dan Slott. Like, online, he's, whatever. But, like, in person, friendly and affable.
Yeah.
You walk up to him, you can make a whole show dedicated to talking about how crappy his comic books are. And then you walk up to him and he's always friendly. Like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't know, man. But, like, that was a big problem, was, like, the Kevin Feige of Marvel TV was a grouch.
Yes.
Which is kind of funny because Netflix was darker and it was like
Mm-hmm,
it was just angry. It was more mature. And Jeff Loeb's like, yeah, like, you know what? DC, snipe Jeff Loeb, put him over there. Like,
For real.
except he thinks Scott Buck is a good idea. So
Yeah,
maybe
man.
just let him write Captain America White 2.
He twice thought he was a good idea, one for Inhumans and one for Iron Fist.
Inhumans, I'm convinced, was a sabotage.
Oh, I mean, it has to be, right? There's no way you could make something that bad on purpose.
Right. I am convinced that Inhumans was a movie. They downgraded it to a show. Jeff Loeb was resentful that it was kicked down to him.
Right.
That the perspective and everyone's opinion out loud was like it was kicked down. It's like, no, I'm working on TV. There's it's equal. But for many people, it was kicked down to him. So he's like, well, if it's going to be kicked down to me, I'm going to kick it down to Scott Buck and make this garbage show about a property that literally nobody wants.
Especially considering, too, where it's like, it wasn't even as good as S.H.I.E.L.D. at its weakest. And I watched a lot of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I'm
Me
like,
too.
this isn't even S.H.I.E.L.D. good.
Yeah, no.
And
I
S.H.I.E.L.D.
watched
got
a lot
pretty
of S.H.I.E.L.D.
fucking good by the end.
Mm-hmm. There were parts where I was like, ugh. Like with S.H.I.E.L.D., I'm like, oh my god, this has to stop.
It to me, I always enjoyed S.H.I.E.L.D. more as a binge watch, where I'm like, well, that one was okay, but that other one was fucking good, man.
Right.
Where she went to the planet and she lived there for a long time. That feels like something I'd read in an annual.
Right, yeah, that's fair. I watched it week to week, so it was wearying and horrible.
At times.
And then I just went, life is too short for me to be this unhappy.
Go, and then Ghost Rider shows up for a season.
That was cool, but then he leaves.
Then he leaves, but then he was going to get his own show, but then he didn't.
Yeah, that's fine.
Poor Gabriel Luna.
I know.
The fact they keep dangling that carrot. Hey, they loved you in this season. Hey, you're going to get your own show on Hulu. No, you're not.
Hey, you're the Terminator. No, none of those things are going to work out for you, Gabe. I'm sorry.
Aw, he
Yeah.
seems like a nice man.
He does, and he seemed really enthusiastic about it. I don't blame him. But yeah, so when it came, and then we didn't even really talk about like the Marvel Network shows, but
Oh, yes.
again, like because it was under Jeff Loeb, and because like there must have been some bad blood or something. Hashtag not connected. Hashtag we technically work for the same parent company, so we have literally the same access to everything, so we can make cosmetic references to it, but never expect a character or even like a name to pop up.
Well, except for when they did, because I mean, S.H.I.E.L.D. got Samuel L. Jackson, and they got Sif a couple times. But
That was
about...
when there was this weird like disconnect where it's like S.H.I.E.L.D. season 1 was under the Marvel Cinematic umbrella.
Yeah.
So Sam Jackson shows up at the end of season 1. Sif shows up in that show, and then there was like this disconnect. There's this break.
We also got the Dogs of Hell in S.H.I.E.L.D., which then would show up in the Netflix shows.
Right, that's true. That was cool.
Which was a weird connection that I think also, too, in a piece of paperwork, they never say it out loud, but Daisy actually grew up in the same orphanage as Matt Murdock.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
which never comes up, and I'm like, man, it's a shame at least these shows can't cross over, because wouldn't that be something? Oh, it's that fucking Matt kid from the orphanage.
Yeah, that would be amazing. No, I would have I mean, like, I really wanted to see Coulson show up on the Netflix shows. And I was like, what the hell? How'd you screw that up?
Yeah. Yeah, and the fact that Coulson came back in Captain Marvel, kind of, sort of, but still they haven't finished off that story with the Avengers and everything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, did he die again by the end of that show? Because I remember
assume.
I didn't watch the last season, and I know the season before the last season he was dying.
Yep.
But then they resurrected him, and he might have been a villain. And I only watched that first episode. I'm like, you should have ended it at the last season. That was a better ending.
I literally, like, I watched the last season's finale or whatever, and I was like, I'm out.
When it's him and May in Tahiti for real, I'm like, no, this is the real ending. I don't care what you write after this.
Right, that's fine for me. I was like, that's enough. But yeah, no, I think he is dead. And I was like, when it was obvious that they were never going to connect the shows and the movies again, I was like, they're going to kill Coulson at the end of the show.
Right.
So that it's clean and convenient. So that Iron Man can never think that Coulson ever didn't die in the hangar on the helicarrier.
And their whole reason for assembling the team wasn't built on a lie.
Right. Which I was okay with, because it's very Fury. I think that worked out great.
Oh, it works great for his character.
But I was also like, when it's not connected, I'm like, oh, they have to make everything... They have to make it so this show could have never existed and it doesn't matter.
Which is a shame for characters like Quake, who I ended up enjoying, and especially like Agent May, who I really ended up enjoying. And I'm like, why can't she hang out in a Black Widow movie, maybe?
Yeah, I really liked Agent May. Well, I like Ming-Na. She's amazing. And
she's great in everything.
Agent May should have been in the... Agent May should have been moved over.
She deserved more. Hell, remember that Mockingbird show they almost made and then got cold feet and didn't, even after they had a whole arc writing her out of the show, only to write... I think they wrote the guy back in.
They wrote the guy back in, but they did not bring Bobby back.
No.
Weird. Yeah, Marvel's Most Wanted was the name of the show. I think they made a pilot, and then it was like, no.
Which is funny, because again, it's just like, really, this is too much? This isn't enough for... It's like, no, we're saying no to this.
Yes. Good for that. Like, that's fine. Nobody wanted that anyway. But yeah, so when it comes to the future of Marvel TV, I don't know. I'm pretty optimistic, and
I'm gonna say it's bright.
Based on the What If show, the fact that like they're gonna be making these like huge cartoon episodes where it's like, we're gonna do Marvel Zombies.
Yeah,
we're gonna cast Chadwick Boseman to play friggin' Black Panther in our cartoon.
Fucking dope.
Like, the fact that everyone's coming back, everyone does those things, and the shows themselves like are kind of self-contained and important in their own right. Like, it's really cool. It's really smart.
What if Peggy Carter became Captain America? To which I'm like, yo, that's also good, because those 2 seasons of that Peggy Carter show, wildly underrated.
Yeah, agreed. I think she's going to be Captain Britain.
Yes.
And it's like, that's really cool.
That's really clever. I will fully admit that when that Peggy Carter show was going on, I liked it for the 2 seasons it was going on more than S.H.I.E.L.D., and I watched them both. Big time.
The other thing was, I think when they were developing the Peggy Carter show, it was still under the Marvel Cinematic umbrella. Like, they were still working together because, and here's the indicator that they were definitely still embedded together, because Jarvis was in Endgame.
And Jarvis was in Endgame, and you get Zola at the end of season 1.
Yeah. Zola's at the end of season 1. Jarvis is in Endgame. Coulson never returns in anything. No crossover. Hell, the last time we saw Sif was in S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, which is funny, because that means because she was gone, she technically survived the massacre of Asgard.
She's come back. She's going to be in Love and whatever the hell. She's going to be in Thor 4. Yeah, she's going to be in 4.
I hope she mentions her time, like, yes, I was hanging out with Agent Coulson. Say what?
I promise you they won't.
No, I know they won't, but wouldn't that be some shit? Yeah, I was hanging out with Coulson. Oh, no, he died again, though.
Yeah, oh, no, but he's dead again. Here's the document if you want to read it. I don't.
Don't.
Pass. Boring.
We've got all this other stuff now. We've got a new female Thor. We've got no time for Coulson.
Yeah, fair enough. James Robbins says, why are companies so afraid to make sure continuity is tight? Why does discontinuity happen so often? And what can the next gen of writers do better?
Because at the end of the day, continuity is something that only us obsessive nerds really care about, and anyone else in any position of power is like, who fucking cares?
Right. There's a level of who cares, and there's a level of, like, it's inconvenient.
Yes, very much so.
You know, it's all about... It's funny, because they spend hundreds of millions of dollars and give like Oscar, like at the Oscars, I think like what was it? Actors got like $20 to $200,000 gift like party favors and stuff,
Yes.
and yet they're also very careful about where they spend their money and desperately like afraid of losing it. And it's like, hey, maybe if you didn't take a private jet, you'd have like more money. But it's expensive and inconvenient to pay attention and care enough about something that isn't going to give me a net reward.
Absolutely.
The fact is, it's all of it is about making more money. This for the richest people on the planet to make more money. And it just isn't, because like here's the thing, right? Like if they cared, Edward Norton would be the Hulk.
Yeah.
Right? And and the reason why Edward Norton isn't the Hulk is because he's too expensive. And not because they didn't want to pay the money. Like, and not because he was a too expensive actor. It's because Edward Norton would have wanted to write the script.
And he wanted more creative control.
He would have wanted more creative control. They didn't want that because they want to make more money.
Mm-hmm.
Because they believe...
It's a team effort, Ed.
Exactly. So it was less expensive to just recast him. Yeah. And even though that is, like, they don't even look close to the same, like, and they don't even act like the same person.
No, completely different character.
You know, but William Hurt isn't, you know, desperately necessary, and so he doesn't cost a lot of money. So he's in Black Widow.
Yep.
Like, okay, we'll bring him back. Fuck it. You know? Maybe we'll bring back Liv Tyler. Who knows?
Man, I really hope they do in the She-Hulk show. I hope they bring back Liv Tyler just to really do people's heads in.
That'd be great. But that's why they do it. They just don't care. And because
they inevitably bring back the Leader or the Abomination from wherever they're squared away.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Hey, that Thunderbolts thing, again, we got Zemo, we got Thunderbolt Ross, we got the second Black Widow. It looks to me like they might be trying to build up to a Thunderbolt something.
That'd be cool. And what can the next generations of writers do better? They have to be in an executive producer or in control. Like, the reason why you get any continuity at all is because Kevin Feige cares.
Yes.
It's why I'm like, oh no. Like, I hope he has a really awesome protege, and I hope he introduces us to him or her soon.
Yeah.
Because, like, you need a good replacement who cares, who has the same level of power.
We need the succession. We need the line.
Yeah. Because you'll never get it again. Like, the fact is, like, no, the reason why you don't see this everywhere else is because nobody else can do it.
Absolutely.
Or has done it, or the studios don't have the confidence or the risk averseness to do it.
And the fact that Feige can say, look, I know what I'm doing. I've made all of these billions of dollars for you. That's because I know what the fans want, and the fans want continuity, and I have the receipts to prove it.
Exactly. But the reason why you don't see it recreated everywhere is because, like, most of them are part of the structure and are more focused on making money than they are focused on making this product. Rusky says, do you think What If might lead to other universes in future MCU phases? I'd love to see a live action Peggy Cap. I think that we're getting there. I think the idea is that, like, phase 5 will be multiverses. I hope not, because I think that's more complicated, and I think it's like it's you know, it's like there's plenty of Marvel to do that isn't alternate versions of characters, you know?
Right, don't muddy the waters just yet.
Don't make it complicated. Just stick with what you got.
I don't think they will. I think, again, that's another secret weapon of the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole, is that they do keep it simple, stupid.
That's true. Smarty says, Coulson is 2010 years old. He is a forever living soul. When he dies, he goes to his next human vessel and repeat. There you go.
Coulson, always reborn. He is the Alpha and the Omega.
And Rusky says, James Gunn should direct Thunderbolts. Suicide Squad ripped off Guardians, then the Guardians director directs the Suicide Squad, so now director of Suicide Squad should write and direct the Marvel ripoff.
It only makes sense.
That'd be fine. I mean, I think a Thunderbolts movie could be really cool.
Where's Joe Carnahan at these days? Can we get him? I always enjoyed him.
Good question. But listen, before we head out, we want to thank you all so much for hanging out with us. Don't forget to check out patreon.com/ComicPOP for extra shows that Joel and I do, along with plenty more. I'm actually building up a archive of the old episodes of Elseworlds. If you're listening on Spotify, the old show has not been collected for some reason, so I'm re-uploading them, cleaned up a little bit. So you may be catching like random episodes that are like from 3 years ago. That's because I'm just peopling them into the rotation. So enjoy these flashbacks.
We swear they're just as good.
They are, I think. Now, I think we've gotten better. But
I think I'm proud of everything we've done. I don't think there's been one episode where it's like, good, didn't like that one.
no, that's true. Yeah, I definitely am not like, that sucked, and I'm disappointed. But if you haven't already, check out the video where we talk about Marvel versus DC again with IDW. I think it's worth talking about. I think it's worth sharing and getting out there. If you are excited about this channel and you like what we do, stay tuned. Hey, Sad Thani says, sorry I missed the show. Thank you very much for your patronage. We really appreciate it. And don't feel bad. You'll catch it on the flip. But you did make it right down onto the wire. Thank you, sir.
You did make it into the show.
You did make it into the show, and thank you, man. Thank you very much for your generosity. But yeah, man, so from there, oh, by the way, Wednesday, back issues, Life Story. We're doing Chip Zdarsky's Spider-Man Life Story. It's, you know,
That's
amazing.
Gonna be a biggie.
You're going to like it, I think. It's a fun episode.
Easily one of the best comics of last year.
Easily, yeah. Definitely from the big two, easily, yeah. So check it out. And we'll see you guys next time. I'm Sal.
I'm Joel.
So long.
Bye-bye.